everyone. Good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. By reaching this stage, by reaching the stage of EDIC 2 exam, you are supposed to have enough experience. You are supposed to be exposed to enough number of cases, and in order to have enough knowledge to manage any critical ill patient, or most of the critical ill patient, at least the majority of them, and to make a good plan for their management. As you know, EDIC exam is two parts. The first part is case-based, computer-based CBS or computer-based scenarios. It's just one question per slide. It is the most difficult part of the exam, to be honest. 3 parts: biochemistry, radiology, and then curves. Although it is the most difficult and most of the candidates usually fail in this part, but it is the easiest bit of it because it's only about studying. If you study well, if you are well prepared, then most probably are going to pass. The clinical case scenario, for those who have got experience, especially in the Western hospitals or in the Gulf, for example, Saudi Arabia or Emirates or Qatar, there is a high probability of passing clinical case scenario as well, even if they are not well prepared or are not studying well. Because the idea of the clinical case scenario, which is like this case, is to show to the examiners that you are a safe physician. Clinical-based, computer-based scenarios or slides, it's about your knowledge. But here, it's not only about the knowledge as much as it's about how safe you are to practice intensive care in Europe. It's okay not to reach the right diagnosis as long as you mention the right steps to reach the right diagnosis. For example, if I ask you to mention the differential diagnosis, it's okay not to mention the right diagnosis. And it's actually common not to mention the right diagnosis because sometimes there are twists in the scenario, twists. So it's about to give the examiners a reasonable differential diagnosis and then ask for the proper investigations. And then when you are going with the case, you are going to reach the right diagnosis at some point. And then once you reach the right diagnosis, what are you going to do with the patient in a safe way? Don't be ashamed to ask for assistance from another specialties. Don't hesitate asking assistance from another colleague, even if it is from the same specialty as you are. Especially, for example, in cases of difficult intubation or anticipated difficult airway. The exam, this is supposed to be part of the right answer. Actually, is to ask for help. Okay. Forget what we are doing in our countries. Forget what you do in Egypt, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. I know that you are all experienced clinicians, but here it's about how to show them that you are safe, how to ask for help when needed, how to ask for the right assistance, okay? How to apply the multidisciplinary team in your daily work and daily practice. That's the most important part of the EDIC exam, especially regarding the clinical case scenario. Okay? How that you are well prepared to practice medicine in Europe. They don't need any genius doctors there. They have a lot of genius doctors there. Okay? And they don't want any courageous or brave doctors. Okay? They don't like this kind of doctors. They like for the safe doctors. They're looking for the safety. Okay? We are all from similar regions. In our countries, we don't ask for help usually. We manage alone, okay? Especially if you are senior enough. But here, the issues are different. Even if you are a consultant, you will have to ask for help from other colleagues, okay? So let's start the scenario. And as I mentioned, it's supposed to be an interactive session, please. So open your cameras, open your mics if you can, and then we are going to go in order. So every one of you can participate in answering part of this scenario. So let's meet the patient. Who is the first volunteer? Who is the first volunteer? John, I can see your name. Can you participate now? Okay, John, after John.
All right,
Ken?
sir.
Okay, John.
Yes,
Could you just read the scenario, please? Yeah.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
So
John.
we have this patient, Mrs. S.A., 34-year-old, 28 weeks pregnant, with no significant past medical history, presenting with generalized tonic-clonic seizures of acute onset, occurred, which started 2 hours prior to her arrival in the hospital. She had 3 episodes of seizures within the last 2 hours. Okay, so history of presenting complaint, 5 days progressive severe. Okay, I don't know what. Okay, headache. Okay, headache. Then visual changes, which is blurring and photophobia. Okay, she also had persistent nausea and vomiting. No history of eclampsia. Blood pressure was normal pre-admission and with no proteinuria. And no history of seizures, no prior epilepsy or neurological disorders. Okay, that's the answer.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. So what's your differential diagnosis?
Okay. Okay, like you've written here, preeclampsia and severe eclampsia.
Preeclampsia or
Well,
eclampsia?
eclampsia, yeah. Eclampsia is possible. Meningitis is also possible in this patient. Encephalitis is also possible. Brain tumor, intracranial lesions, and stroke is also possible. That's CVA. Those are possibilities in this patient. And,
What kind of stroke is it?
okay, both
Here is a press.
hemorrhagic stroke.
Press,
Hemorrhagic
okay,
stroke.
press. And there is another hemorrhagic stroke, okay, and press, okay. Anyone
Yeah.
else would like to add another differential diagnosis? What else? So get you part of the exam as well that you shouldn't be that you should be cautious, not be cautious that it might happen, just be cautious that you don't have a mental block after it. That the examiners will keep asking you what else, what else, what else. Okay, so when they do this because they want to help you to get the full mark for this question. So don't be so alerted out or alarmed out of it. Okay, don't worry, because usually some of the, even if you don't reach the right one, because some of the candidates usually break down because of this kind of questions. What else? What else? So it's part of the exam. Okay, so expect to hear it a lot. No one will reach, even the examiners themselves will never reach the full differential diagnosis. So as a first part, the first thing will come to our mind is eclampsia. That's right, as mentioned by John. And then there are a list of other differential diagnoses, including central venous sinus thrombosis, idiopathic intracranial hypertension, residual tumor cell-free, especially in pregnancy, stroke, whether ischemic or hemorrhagic, TTP, or hemolytic uremic syndrome, subarachnoid hemorrhage, vasculitis, cerebritis, space-occupying lesions like tumor or abscess, infection like meningitis, encephalitis, and press, as mentioned by one of you. And then the scenario will go on.